Now, if you're worried about starting your community because you don't have a big audience, or maybe you don't really have an audience at all, and you think if people just trickle inside and you only have a handful of people, then they're probably not going to engage, and it's going to feel a bit like a ghost town. And to be honest, this is a legitimate concern. It is a problem that I see with many people who start their communities if they don't have enough traffic coming in. But the good news is that you don't actually need a big audience in the beginning. What you need is momentum. So we need to make sure that people coming inside don't just look around and it doesn't just feel like a ghost town and that maybe they're going to lurk in the background. It's a bit like when you go out to a bar or a restaurant and you're the first ones there, maybe you're a bit early, and you look around and you think, it's a bit dead, I'll come back later on, or we'll go somewhere else because it's not really a good sign. And that's because we as humans like social proof. We like to go where other people are, and communities are all about other people. So the question is, how can we build this momentum in the beginning? How can we pre-sell or pre-promote our community to be able to make sure that we're going to get a group of people inside all at the same time, and it's going to have a great vibe that we can engineer from day one? Well, that's what I'm going to show you inside this video. And I have a background in hospitality. I used to work for some pretty high-end members clubs and fancy restaurants, and I even had an event company where we used to arrange events, private, exclusive, high-end events. And I can tell you now that keeping people outside a club and engineering with a guest list is a great way to build and engineer the crowd inside, but also to build demand and create that sort of vibe building mentality that we want to make people think, ooh, it looks really busy, it looks really exclusive, it's hard to get into, and that creates a buzz. And what you used to do is at the door, you've probably heard this before, people, they let you build up a queue outside the club. And have you ever gone inside and sometimes it's not as busy as you thought, or in fact, it's not even that busy at all? So why was there such a big queue and why were we waiting outside? And this was a strategy to make people that walk by or come along feel like it's really busy and it's hard to get into. So therefore, they want to get inside. And what you do is you sort of walk people in who are on the guest list and you gradually fill out the tables and the sort of all the seating areas and the exclusive spaces first. And then you gradually over time allow small groups and engineer the right people coming in to gradually fill up the dance floor area. But you always hold some people outside because it just builds that buzz. It builds that buzz and it makes it look like a good place. And also you get a lot more people in at the same time. So we want to build this same vibe when you're launching your Skool community. We want to have it feel like it's a grand event. And something else we used to do when we used to open new venues is you would have a soft launch opening, an opening of the restaurant where it was invite only and it was people that you chose who were going to come to this restaurant and this opening. And we want to do that inside our community. So when you have a soft launch opening, you invite selected people. They feel really special. They feel like they're part of something new and exciting. And when you engineer it and you create that vibe, what happens is people start to talk about it. So on the restaurant side, you'd invite lots of exclusive people, different crowds. Sort of, it might be the elite side. It might be people in the industry. It might be people who are critics and so on. But it creates this vibe. And then people are talking about it for a while. And then as people talk about it and invite other people or want to come back to that restaurant again, we gain the momentum. And this is what we want. If you have the right people and it feels exclusive, then it's a great launch. And that launch carries momentum into the future. So that's what we want. We want everybody in at the same time and everybody talking about it and having a great time, gaining momentum so the activity is high. That will push you up in terms of discovery and so on as well. So it's all going to be beneficial to you. So how can we do this? Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to look at the network that you currently have. So what do you have? Do you have an email list? Do you have friends and contacts that you can message? Maybe people on WhatsApp? You want to look at that network and say, how many people could I get together? 2, 5, 10? Maybe there's a handful of the right people in there that you can bring inside. Now, we obviously want to make sure that these people are going to be interested in the community and what we're going to be doing. Don't bring random people in, family members and so on. It's just not beneficial to you at all. They're just going to end up being lurkers because they're not actually interested in what you're doing. But you can look for past clients, people that you've worked with. Look at your social media channels. Do you have any type of social media presence? Be it YouTube, Instagram, anything that you can put your link into the bio to bring more people in. But a lot of it is going to be you engineering it and going out there and trying to contact your current network. So messaging people, DMing people, emailing people, and trying to bring people towards your Skool community. And we want to try and see if we can get, say, 20 or so people. It doesn't really matter. You could start with, say, 10 if you want, if it's the right people. But 10 or 20 of the right people is much better than 100 random people. And that will allow us to create that vibe. So when other people arrive, it doesn't feel like a ghost town that they're looking around and think, oh, I'll come back later, which we're trying to avoid. So even 10 or 20 of the right people who are going to say hi to anybody that comes in and arrives is perfect. Absolutely fine. We want a strong foundation to our community. But we also, as I said, want to make sure that everybody is a good match. But a strong foundation will allow you to build that momentum and really drive up your community over time and keep that activity high. So again, that's going to help us with things like discovery and so on, but mainly just to make it a place that people want to come to. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our about page. So as you have your Skool about page, and we have the video, we have the description, and you also have the side section here. Now, rather than setting this up like a normal about page, what we're actually going to do is we're going to use this like a webinar or an event sign-up page. So when you go to a webinar sign-up page, basically it's advertising an event in the future, and you can sign up to it to save the date, and it will send you emails and follow-ups and notifications closer to the time of that particular event. Now, we can do something similar with our Skool community. So you're going to want to set this up so that the video, the description, everything is talking about the event, not the community. Okay, so we want to talk about the event coming up, what's going to be happening in it, what they need to expect, save the date, how it works, how you'll reach out to them, what you'll do closer to the time, that you're going to be DMing them, you're going to be emailing them. So we're going to be messaging and emailing them to get to know them, but also telling them in the videos and the description what to expect and why they should want to show up. And we're still going to ask the 3 questions that people need to sign up for. These are the questions for free communities that we can add. We want to make sure that one of them is definitely the email. So one has to be the email that they're going to sign up to. And then the other 2 can be fact finding. What are you struggling with? What's your goal? What are you most interested about this topic? Get some information so that you can use that to validate that they are the right people, and also something to talk about when you start to message them. And then you'll see here with your pending people inside the community, it'll say pending members. Don't approve them yet. We do not want to approve them yet. We want to wait, and this is going to be your holding area. This is going to how we're going to use the about page, a bit like a webinar sign up, and hold them there. This is going to be your internal guest list. This is going to be the guest list, and the benefit of this is that when people are in the holding area and they are waiting, you can actually DM them in Skool. And you've also got the email, so you can send follow-ups and messages, private, bespoke. We're only talking about 10, 20, max 30 people here, potentially. So you could actually do it all on a personal level. Get to know them, validate them, make sure they're the right people. If they're not, eliminate them, and move on to building the buzz. So this whole setup is about filtering the right people, building the buzz, and getting to know them. So as I said, the questions that we can use within the Skool platform, the 3 questions that you have the option to use, we want the email, and then you want questions that are going to be useful for you to validate them. And then, as I said, you're going to DM them and email them to get to know them. So this is about building the buzz, but you want to drive connections with them. You want to stop being a stranger, and you want to move them to a committed member, a more of a friendship almost, if you will. When people get to know you more, they're going to be more invested in the community. They're going to show up to the event. They'll feel a bit more guilt about ghosting you if they don't show up. So you want to drive that type of connections. Find out who is doing what. And then even when you do go live, if you know and keep notes on that, you'll be able to make connections between other members inside so that they start to interact even without you. And I would say if you want to go the extra level, I'd be willing to do one-on-one onboarding calls with some of these people, maybe select few that you think are going to be a really good match. You could chat to them and make sure that they're fully on board with it, because you really want your sort of key 5 players. So if you get 5 out of the 20 that are the key players that are going to help you within that community, then you probably want to invest in them even more and make them feel even more special. And then for the event itself, you want to make sure that you've got a clear promise that it's going to be a live event that you're building up to, that people actually know what's happening and why, most importantly, they should care. This is going to be like any other type of event or webinar or workshop or whatever you're going to do to make them want to show up, to make them want to come. It needs to be valuable and it needs to be a large enough promise that I want to come. It's interesting enough to me that I'm going to show up live. So remember that vague is boring. Vague promises, this is going to be a great community. We're going to be doing all sorts of things in this community. Doesn't mean anything to me. Tell me exactly what you're going to be doing, and then I'll show up. Make it worth my time. My time is so valuable to me, and everybody feels the same thing. So why would I waste it on something that I'm not necessarily going to be interested in? So proper promises, make it interesting, go all out, and build that buzz so that people are going to be wanting to come to it. So think about it. It's a launch party. We really want to make the celebration and the party itself, the event itself, something to be remembered. Go all out, whatever you're going to do. And then over the next week, we want to do mini actions to get them continuously coming back and trained to coming back inside the community. And then think of things that you could do ongoing afterwards. Maybe it's paid. Maybe you're going to take your time to build up to paid because it's probably not enough people quite yet. But you want to keep the community active while you're bringing more people in until you say get to 100 people. And then maybe you're ready to do your beta launch or whatever you're going to do. But we want to keep that momentum going, keep that activity high, because when you do come to sell something in future, it'll be much easier with an active community. So train them across the next 7 days. And then in terms of the setup for your community and what I would do for filling it ongoing, if you would like more help with that, I will link to our free community in the video description, where I will show you how to set up your community in the right way and the different strategies that we use, as well as how we use YouTube to fill it and bring in regular people consistently so that you don't have to worry about where the next members are coming from. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.